What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Front Yard Fantasy live stream podcast. Fresh new countdown Wednesday Trade Talk Spectacular. We are here with Josh and John Luke as always, and our very special guest, Alex, aka u/PeakedInHighSkool on Reddit, the creator, the father of the beloved trade value charts. If you're a member of the fantasy football community over there on Reddit, you are definitely familiar with his work. Every time he posts it on Wednesday morning, it skyrockets up to the top post for the day. How are you doing, Alex? We're glad to have you on.
I'm doing well. I know there's probably 1,000 poop breaks happening at the same time as soon as that goes. That's the number one comment I get.
You seem to have like a monopoly on morning poop time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're like a poop whisperer or something. It's amazing.
It's like a good cup of coffee. Same thing. Gets the job done.
I'll tell you, you do dominate my morning poop time. So you've got at least a monopoly on mine right there on Wednesday mornings. Josh and JL, how are you guys?
I'm doing great. Doing fantastic.
I'm not looking as spiffy as Josh, though. Brand new haircut. Look at that. What's that, a number two? Number two on the side?
That's a three. That's a 3 on the sides, actually. It does look a little short, though. I was thinking the same thing. But thanks for noticing. I know I look great, and I appreciate you guys when you notice it, you know?
It was just me that noticed, but thank you.
Well, Simon said something before you got in, but I'll give it to you. Mainly,
it's not on record. It doesn't count, Josh. I never give Josh compliments on record. So today we are going to dive into the newest trade value charts that Alex put out this morning. Talk a little bit about the current landscape, how injuries shook that up, and then I know Alex had some interesting trades that he recently pushed through in his leagues that he wanted to talk about. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up those trade charts. We got that right here. This is the one for PPR. And Alex, do you want to give a little bit of insight on how you go about creating these, what the motivation is, how to use it?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the number one question I get a lot of the time is, how do you use it? I mean, step one, just go to that far left column called trade value. Those are the values that we're looking for to see, what is a player worth going forward. This is effectively a rest of season rank. And then what we'll do is, when you look at a trade and you're looking at two sides, you just sum the players on each side. It's as simple as that. When you're looking at things like 2-for-1 trades, where you're trading for a stud, you might need to give up a 1.2 or 1.5 on the two side to get that stud. That's kind of the metrics we're looking for. To generate these values, what I do is we'll start with Fantasy Pros expert consensus rest of season ranks. I'll narrow it down to the ones that have actually updated since the football games, right? Because it changes every week.
Yeah.
So that's key. And then I'll weight it depending on how many of those there are. I then normalize that, or kind of will average it with Chris Harris's ranks, because he won't post on Fantasy Pros, but I actually like his ranks a lot. Mm-hmm. And then, I think he's kind of a dick, but I like him. Like, I don't know.
He's a smart guy. He knows his stuff.
Josh gets that a lot. He's fully familiar with that.
Yeah, like he speaks to my soul.
That's good.
Yeah. So from there, I generated, I guess, an algorithm or a function that applies, based on those ranks, a trade value number that's based on it's based on historical data that I normalized using actual Reddit trade values. I went through and looked for crossover points to make these trends. And then I'll normalize it with the CBS or 444 just to get even more and kind of push it a little bit up or down. And then I'll apply a PPR multiplier based on targets and receptions as well to go from standard, which is my starting point, up to PPR and then half point PPR. So that's how these are made. It's really not that hard.
I started to go through these earlier this morning to just come up with some different things that stuck out to me. And as soon as I started, it was I couldn't stop. It was just every third player. I was like, oh my God, that's interesting. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, Joe.
The one that pokes out to me, and I'm curious what you guys think, and because I've gotten it's Zeke minus 17 down to 42. I've had people probably 10 comments. Oh, Zeke's way too high, and a bunch of oh no, go buy Zeke. I'm like, man, maybe that means he's just right. I don't know. It's
something I noticed was that all of the Dallas wide receivers were also discounted, not quite as much as Zeke, but it feels like there's almost a collective sigh or collective turning point this past weekend after that poor performance. There, people are just done with Zeke, trying to trade him or get rid of him. Or really, all the Dallas players.
That minus 17 definitely screams at you when you look at it. There's not a number anywhere close to that on this sheet. But
the next closest is what? Chris Carson and Michael Thomas, and they're both actually hurt. Zeke is healthy, the running back, the only one on a team, and he still got minus. That's just kind of blowing my mind.
And if you had asked me before the season, I feel like most people are going to say Zeke is matchup proof or Zeke is situation proof. But I think that we're just starting to see he doesn't have good matchups coming up, hasn't been really that good, and so it's very surprising to see such a big turn after this week.
I get it though. I'm looking at the players. Yeah. I'm looking at the players on top of them. On top of them. That's a funny way to put it. I'm looking at all the players piled on top of them in this chart, especially on the running backs. I wouldn't trade a single one of those players for Zeke right now.
No.
So I think maybe the drop is severe, but maybe it's correcting for people holding on a little bit too long after Dak went down. Maybe it should have been a little bit more gradual, but the name value propped him up, and then everything came crashing down all at once this week. Do you usually see crazy jumps like that, or is it?
I don't see trends quite that large. Well, 17's huge without tearing your ACL, or no ACL you drop off the chart. But Kenyon Drake, he has the ligament damage in his foot, and he only dropped 9.5, down to 11.5 on the 0.5 PPR. So 17 might be the highest I've seen without an injury to the player. That's a big market correction. Maybe we were wrong last week. Maybe we were too high on him because he was still the number 2 player last week after Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I think people were holding out, hoping that he's still going to be able to salvage the situation, even if his team is crumbling around him.
So for me personally, I think Zeke, he was definitely ranked too high last week, right? And I think the adjustment, it definitely needed an adjustment. I personally, and this is just maybe a personal feeling, I think they're gonna get him more involved. They're gonna get him more catches, I think. And it's hard. I could see that going the other way too, because they have a lot of wide receivers to feed. But Zeke's the best guy on their team right now, and they need something. So
cough, Amari Cooper. Cough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know. I get it, guys. But I think he's gonna be somewhere in between Aaron Jones and where he's currently ranked. Let's put it that way.
I can get that argument, and I would potentially be sending some really terrible offers, and I don't normally say that, but I would send.
That's so funny.
Gaskin plus who I like, Gaskin plus I don't know, Robbie Anderson for him, just really awful, and just see if they bite, because it doesn't hurt you.
That's so funny because coming into the show, one of my friends just this week put Zeke on the trade block. So I was trying to put together some trades that made sense, actually, and it just involved Zeke. There was one I was thinking maybe, Ronald Jones, DJ Moore, and Mike Williams, because I have a lot of depth, and the numbers make sense there. Or maybe he has Michael Thomas as well. Maybe something lineup and giving away Aaron Jones, DJ Moore, and Jarvis Landry or something like that. So I had a couple ideas.
It's going to be interesting to see how these Zeke trades come piling in over the next week or two. I have a feeling you'll see a lot of movement within leagues of Zeke. We have a couple people coming in with trade questions. Let's answer some of those real quick, then we can come back to some of the things that stood out to us as well. So,
what up, Sean?
Sean has a trade question for us. He says he has a trade question stacked in this league, has Gio Bernard and Lev Bell, and literally don't know when he'll start either of them over the starters. The other person he's trading with needs running backs. The only place he needs to upgrade is quarterback or tight end. He has Deshaun Watson and Mark Andrews.
You don't
Is
need to
Gio-
upgrade Deshaun Watson.
No, yeah, you're good. All
He's
right.
the best player to ever play the
No,
game.
the other person has Deshaun Watson and Mark Andrews. He's
Oh,
saying,
right.
is Gio and Lev Bell fair for Watson, or those two for Mark Andrews?
One
I'd
QB
rather
league.
Yeah, Mark Andrews.
One QB league. That's an awful lot to give up for a QB, but
I
Well,
wouldn't do that. Yeah.
We could reference the trade charts. We could see what they have to say. Where is
PPR, or I'm sorry, Superflex, I would definitely be doing that.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the trade charts yet, but my gut reaction is telling me absolutely do that for Mark Andrews if you need a tight end.
Yeah.
But
Deshaun Watson, 20.5. Bell is above that alone.
So do you take
Oh,
in,
is he?
do you take in like positional scarcity with this, Alex? Or
Yeah,
is it
that's
okay.
yeah, that's key of how it's generated. Is I started the initial function as the baseline was everything was in terms of running back, and then running back was our wide receiver was a function of running back. Same thing with tight end and quarterback. So that's how it started. Yeah, I was wrong. So Bell is 12.5.
Mhm.
Gio is I don't even see him on.
He's
here.
at the very bottom.
Yeah. I guess that's
That makes
fair for
sense.
Watson.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's definitely fair. Yeah, it depends on like Simon and I always discuss this. So we differ on how we feel about one QBs. I'm sorry, QBs in one QB leagues. But if you're stacked in the other positions, then it might make sense to get that differentiator.
here's what it's going to come down to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
No. I was just saying I would prefer Andrews over Deshaun Watson personally. But if either of them improve your starting lineup, I get it. I personally have never trade for tight or for quarterbacks. That's just my strategy. It doesn't always work, but sometimes.
I do the same thing.
Smart.
Unless it's super flex, I don't trade for quarterbacks.
Or it's like Patrick Mahomes, like an absolutely crazy elite quarterback.
Right.
I'd rather do that. Deshaun Watson's not quite in that category.
Now
You shut your mouth.
in
Josh.
the situation Sean's in, I know JL wouldn't make that trade, but if he truly believes active,
Lost you a little bit there, Simon.
I didn't know if it was me or Simon.
No.
And I'm back. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Okay.
Simon?
Sorry,
That
glitch in the matrix. But
it happens.
I was saying I would make that trade if I was stacked at every position, and I know that's completely different strategy from what JL would do. The argument I'm guessing on JL's side is look at what happened this week with running backs. You may need that running back depth. You may never start Lev over one of your starters right now, but you may have to start him anyways because one of those starters goes down with a twisted ankle, torn ACL.
If you can flip Gio, do it.
If you can flip Gio,
yeah, it's a totally different. Even than like Mike Davis, I value Mike Davis a lot higher than Gio. Gio to me is very much like a week or two rental until Joe Mixon gets healthy. So you can do that.
I think Le'Veon Bell is going to be inconsistent if I had to.
Yeah,
guess.
I expect him to be relevant, and the only reason I would hesitate is the uncertainty. You don't know. If he does blow up and he starts being like crazy useful in Kansas City, then you're going to be like kicking yourself.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker also looks great. Where's Justin Tucker on this trade value chart, Alex?
So in 2018, Greg Zuerlein made it on when he had that crazy year.
You had to make a whole new column?
Yeah, I did. I really, really did. But no other. Yeah, great. Yeah, and I had him that year. He took me to the ship.
That's why he was on there.
Yeah. No, like he wasn't ranked that high. I put him that high.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And there were that same
he
year.
Was worth it that year.
Yes,
Ezekiel Elliott for Greg Zuerlein.
I'd do that. I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with defenses. That year, Chicago, right? Or was it Jacksonville in 2018? I don't remember. They both made it on it.
Did the Pats make it on last year? Because they were like unbelievable. They were like I forget what trivia it was, but they outscored most positional players last year.
Yeah, they made it to like a 9 or 10 or something because they just actually did have value over replacement. They were, this year, is Tampa Bay going to get there soon? They have a shot, right? Their run defense was just obscene.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty disgusting. Let's see. We've got one more trade in here. This one's my favorite. Was just offered Henderson and Lickety for Hill in 10-man PPR. thinking I'm going to accept. Thoughts?
Lickety Lockett.
And then he said, haha,
Yeah.
lickety Lockett.
Okay.
So
You made yourself
Henderson and
laugh.
Lockett for Hill in 10-man PPR.
Wow. So
That is interesting.
I was actually reading through your kind of intro to your trade values here. And it says, in a 10-man league, because these are made for 12-man, you do want to slightly favor the elite players. And while Lockett just had that crazy game, Tyreek Hill, I think, is still a step above. I think Lockett's going to be a little more inconsistent.
Touchdown. He's very touchdown.
But yeah, exactly. But is Hendo? That set it over the edge,
In PPR, it looks like he's got 16.5 value. He's around Antonio Gibson, Ronald Jones, Myles Gaskin, Eckler, Chase Edmonds. It's surprising. Chase Edmonds is not higher up.
So
47. Oof.
I mean, it's close in value wise.
Yeah.
It's more of it's conceptually. What do you think? I mean, I'm not sure with how Kansas City has been using Hill. I mean, he hasn't broken off anything, but I mean, he's still the fastest player in the league, so he could break off at any time. Is he a buy low? Is that guy trying to buy low on you right now? I mean, is that what's like it?
Yeah.
I think it's a reasonable trade. If you need running back depth, Henderson is not a bad pickup. He's not the guy I would necessarily try and go for because he just isn't a three-headed monster. I assume Akers will get healthy eventually, and then Malcolm Brown exists as a person.
Touchdowns.
Yeah. I would rather like these other running backs close to him. Swift, Gibson, Jones. I'd rather any of those three plus Lockett. I don't know what else is on this person's team. Probably not one of those three guys, just statistically speaking. Yeah. But
you'd prefer Jones over Henderson?
I think
even with Fournette. Oh,
I think so.
Okay.
What about you guys?
They're I think the values are right. I think they're right there next to each other.
Yeah, Henderson has looked really good.
I think Antonio Gibson I'd rather have, even though I know.
I really wanted to zoom in on Tyler Boyd right there.
Tyler Boyd.
I know J.D. McKissic's getting a lot of work, but I think out of all these guys right in this range, I like Melvin Gordon, I guess, a little bit. But Antonio Gibson is my favorite.
Yeah. I think I might take this if you need RB depth, because I'm not sure there's a drop off between Lockett and Hill. There might be a little one. But I'm not even convinced that there is one. Like if I had to bet today who has a better rest of season, Lockett or Hill, I'd be real stressed making that decision.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Hill will be more consistent. Like I said, Lockett's got an insane touchdown volume right now. And so anytime you're looking at that, you got to expect variability. You can't just predict how many touchdowns he's going to get in a week. But at the same time, he's been doing so well and getting so many targets that, like, at the end of the season, it might come out in the wash. I don't know.
The thing with that argument, though, is Tyler Lockett, every single year, the argument against him is that his efficiency can't stay where it is, like on yards per catch and touchdowns.
He's only been really relevant for like 2 years, though.
3 now.
Right? 3 years now.
Sure. I think Baldwin got hurt. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dougie B. Miss him.
I'm just saying, I don't discount him as much for that as most people do, because I think maybe he just is an anomaly. He continues to show us that he can produce at non-normal efficiency rates.
Well, he also has one of the best quarterbacks in the league, the best deep ball thrower in the league, throwing to him. So, like, it's.
Ooh.
I mean,
Patrick Mahomes, though, who has Tyreek Hill,
the top two.
It's a debate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I put that on you.
Yeah, that's fair. No, you're fair. You're fair. But I think it's an acceptable trade. I wouldn't fault you for accepting it at all. It's probably giving you the depth. Normally, I like going the other direction, but that's because I hoard quarterbacks and love to do the 2-for-1 the other way and trade up. But sometimes you just can't do that on teams. Sometimes you have to do the sale to field a roster and have a shot.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
What kind of surprised me whenever I was going through these charts, since we're talking about Tyler Lockett, what is going on right now?
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, we just want to talk about Tyler Boyd. Since we're talking about Tyler Lockett, was that 28 to 33 isn't an insignificant margin between Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, it looks like. Like that's not insignificant. Tyler Lockett's the number 2 wide receiver on the season, and I know he had that huge game that pushed him up there, but people seem to still be valuing DK Metcalf more than
I
just
mean-
slightly over Tyler Lockett.
Did you watch the game on Sunday? Did you see him chase down Buda Baker?
And that's going to
Yeah,
give
I
you so
think-
many fantasy points every week, you know?
I think
So
that
it's worth-
0.5 point bump is just
Yeah.
from that play. People are like, "Oh God."
Alex
Hey,
is watching in real
I-
time as he just goes up and up.
I did
mean,
hear this, like it wore him out, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
it like tired him out that run, because he went so hard. I don't know. I don't like that excuse.
He's just not human. I mean, he's just not.
Mm-mm.
I would say to me they're effectively a coin flip. They're both excellent. They're both back in wide receiver ones at this point. Like if you can get either of them, good for you. If you have them, don't sell them for a lot. Like, yeah, I do think. Well, man, I think Tyreek's faster. Pinto Bean, I think so.
Pinto
I don't know. I would watch him race. I would watch that. I would love that.
Thought you were calling him a faster.
I'll
Pinto
be taking Tyreek over. I think anyone in the NFL. I don't really know who I would
anyone.
take over.
DeAndre Hopkins.
In a
Shut
race?
your mouth, Josh. You shut your
in a
mouth.
race. I was talking about a race. Sorry,
Oh,
DeAndre Hopkins not winning that race.
I'll take Tom Brady in that race. Let's power through some more of these. Let's
All
quick
right, let's
fire
power
some of these
through.
questions. Power through in a positive way, not power through like
All right.
we're grudging through them, but like we got to.
you missed-
I want to
you
look
missed
at
the very first one.
Oh yeah,
Hunter Henry and Gurley for Kittle. Send
Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle. God,
Yep.
yeah. Next.
Yep.
I mean, if you have running back depth, that's my
That's the
caveat to
thing.
everything.
Because
Yeah.
Gurley has a lot of value. Yeah.
But he has
You
a
need
tough rest of season, is what I'm seeing. And I heard some rumors. This could be from Reddit, though, exclusively that he could be on the trade block. Owen, whatever the hell they are at this point,
Yeah.
team. They $6 million in cap that they could, if they get rid of him. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm Kittle.
Okay. What do you think of me trading Devontae Parker and Deebo Samuel for Robbie Anderson and Leonard Fournette, 10-team PPR? Anyone have a strong opinion here?
I don't have a strong opinion. I mean, Robbie Anderson's looked so good, and if you need like a running back that can fill in, Leonard Fournette's that guy. I would be fine, absolutely fine doing this trade. I mean, Deebo Samuel got hurt too, so he's gonna be out of a few weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a hammy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but those can linger.
Mhm.
I would take the Robbie Anderson Fournette side.
Yeah.
Especially if you need a running back. Slam dunk.
PPR. Yeah, true.
Hurts me, but I'm taking it. 2-5 after some bad points against luck. I feel you, Apple MVP. That is, I'm right there with you in a week.
Yeah, sorry, Apple.
12-team non-PPR. Trade Hopkins and Hawkinson for Diggs and James Robinson. Other team really needs a tight end.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you?
I-
I'm guessing you have another tight end, a decent tight end.
as long as you have another tight end and you need a running back, James Robinson looks so freaking good. I mean, I was not a believer, but I absolutely am now. I would be fine doing that trade if
How
you need
crazy.
to win.
How crazy is that?
It-
Like,
yeah,
can
I
you
know
imagine that sense at the beginning of the season?
It's
Look at
nuts.
this. So where you have James Robinson is on par with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
That
look at
is-
that.
He's undervalued on this chart. Full stop. He has to be. I would put him in the same tier as Jonathan Taylor, James Conner at a minimum. If not, maybe even above him. I would put him at a 41, 42. Personally, I think they are really undervaluing him still.
Yeah. I agree. I mean,
With Hopkins at a
he's
52.
playing so well. Running backs are so hard to come by, especially running backs getting his kind of work. It's
Yeah.
worth doing probably. You're
He
losing a
says he
little
has-
bit with Diggs, but
He says he has Waller, so he's good.
oh yeah,
You know
Slam
dude.
dunk,
what?
dude.
Then make this
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
It hurts to send Hopkins away like that, but the value you're getting back is nuts.
Yep, do it. Next.
Okay. I have a couple of easy matchups coming up, so I'm looking to stock up for the playoffs. How do you feel about giving Jacobs, Woods, and Parker to get Hopkins and Chubb?
Man,
Jacobs,
That's
Hopkins,
Scissorin Samurai. That is a ballsy trade.
Ballsy trade.
that's a hell of a name too.
Scissor and Samurai.
You are living up to your name right there. That is
Man, this one hurts my head a little bit. Sure. I mean, if you have the depth at wide receiver, because like both Woods and Parker are pretty good wide receivers that you're gonna be able to use going forward, but obviously Hopkins is better. Jacobs, I'd rather have than Chubb, obviously, too, but he'll be back at some point, right?
Yeah, the report I saw was potentially November 15th after their bye, right? Was what just got posted.
Now, does he come back to the same situation? Do you guys think? I think he's going to be just
Chubb?
as yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do.
If he's healthy, he's going to be out there.
Yeah, if he's healthy, he's touching it first, and they're just going to run, I don't know, 40 times a game or whatever.
Especially with OBJ out for the season now. I truly think Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb could average over 20 touches a game for the rest of the season.
Yes.
Yeah. And that sounds insane, but Alex hit the nail on the head with the 40 touches like that. Or 40 runs, they legitimately could each get 20 plus touches a game.
Yeah.
I think if you're ballsy, this is all about about risk tolerance.
Yeah.
If you are, 5-2 or better, yes. If you're not, I would probably not, because that's you're basically you're almost definitely gonna lose this week unless you really have depth. Next week's gonna be tough.
Backs?
Yeah.
Who are your other running backs? Because that'll definitely sway.
Yeah, for sure. And wide receivers.
He's 5-2. He has AB, Deontay Johnson, and Brandon Ayuk. That's also have. So he must have someone else. I have to scroll up. I can't find it.
I mean, Hopkins would be a nice addition to that.
Yeah.
Don't love that wide receiver.
But Deontay Johnson, I mean, you're not going to have a very good receiver. I mean, Ayuk's a fine start this week, and then DeAndre Hopkins. You're not going to be able to start Deontay Johnson or AB.
Yeah.
If you have the depth, go for it. But like Alex said perfectly, it is ballsy.
Other RBs are Gaskin, Gio, and Hasty. Ooh.
To fill in. I mean, it's ballsy.
The next. Let's say Joe Mixon comes back next week, and let's say that Hasty does not prove to be a actual relevant piece in that backfield. Yeah. And you're going to have just DeAndre Hopkins and AB and Deontay Johnson, Ayuk, and Gaskin.
It's tough, but it is the kind of move that could win you a championship.
Could win you
it loses you a couple weeks as you're waiting for it to come together. But those moves don't always pay off. I made a similar move with Saquon while he was injured last year. Traded away Nick Chubb and something else for Saquon plus a receiver. And, Saquon never quite got back to form, and Nick Chubb killed it rest of season. I thought I was upgrading. So that's also a possibility. Nick Chubb comes back, isn't up to form. I don't think that's what's going to happen. It's a risky move, but I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. It's all about your risk tolerance. I would be hesitant, but I get it.
Come back and let us know if you did it.
Yeah, I'm curious what you decide. So we've got this question. Would you guys trade CD for Marquise Brown, 12-team full PPR?
Yep.
Absolutely. I don't want any part of CD really in a redraft league at this point.
I don't want any Cowboys wide receiver.
I mean, I'll take Amari Cooper, but I don't.
Sean has a very important question. Says, hey, everyone in here, make sure to hit that like button to help grow these channels. Great input on the reg. We did not pay him for that. Sean, thank you so much.
Good friend of the show. Excellent taste in music.
Excellent taste in live stream.
Also embarrasses us when we play our fantasy game show games by just guessing all the ones right that we can't see.
But you can find us on YouTube at Front Yard Fantasy and Twitch at Front Yard Fantasy as well. If you want to follow and subscribe to us,
please do.
Yes, please do. So, Alex, we're going to jump back into these questions in a minute, but I know you had a couple trades that you wanted to talk about that you've done in your leagues recently. Some interesting trades.
Yeah. So
you want to give us one of those?
Yeah, I had one this week. It just happened. So I was playing running back lottery this weekend. Right. I'm on Yahoo, so you can do it. I dropped Josh Kelly and grabbed Carlos Hyde. Right. And then so I got him. And then I reached out to the Carson owner Monday morning, I assume before he had coffee. I'm like, hey, you want some Hyde? You need this man in your life? Oh, his injury's fine. I offered him Claypool and Hyde for Lockett as a extreme anchor. I was going low, right? That's I just read the book.
Hyde for Tyler Lockett, my God.
Yeah. I just read the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, who is the hostage negotiator for the FBI.
Yeah.
Strongly recommend.
For a while.
It's really good. So I was, and then then he countered, what about Woods plus Hyde for Lockett? I was like, yeah, that's good. And then we got all into the game theory of, are you looking for your floor or your ceiling? And I convinced him to ask for Claypool plus Hyde again for Lockett.
What?
Yeah. Yep. He ended up
his idea all along.
Yeah. Well, that's what he thinks. Chris Vostem. So that was
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that was my successful one. Right now, I'm also pushing. I have Mixon and Gio, as well as Jamal Williams. So I'm pushing for Mixon, Gio, and Woods to the Aaron Jones and Chubb owner. That's what I'm trying to get done. And then
both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, just to make a trade happen with that. I thought you were saying to get Aaron Jones and.
No. Yeah, I'm trying to get Aaron Jones and Chubb, but I'm also giving up Swift. I forgot to say that. So it's like giving up some depth, and I'm insured by having Jamal Williams. So those are the two that I'm working on this week. I also traded, is it Jamichael or Jamal Hasty? I traded him and the Chargers DST for Joe Burrow in a league where I actually needed a quarterback for this week because I owned Kyler Murray. That's really all. I mean, that's the one time I think I've ever traded for a quarterback.
So what are some of your strategies? I know, Alex, you and I have talked at length about the various theory of trade negotiation and trying to get league mates to make trades. What are some of your go-tos or your never split the difference tips for, getting your league mates to be a little bit more open to making trades?
Yeah. I think the key is, a lot of people will send trades and they'll even look at this chart and say, yeah, the value's there. They're winning it. I'm like, but they don't need the players, man. That's the step one is identify your strength. If you have 6 running backs, trade a running back. And that's what you're looking for. And then look for those teams that just don't have it, right? Yeah. If you have extra tight ends, look for the team that has a tight end. So make intelligent trades, target those bottom. Every week I check to see who the bottom 4 teams are in each league and see what their weakness is and see if there's something I can do to get that to happen. And then move your way up. I found that any team below 500 significantly more likely to trade. Just has been anecdotally. I don't know if you guys have run into the same thing. They need to make a change. And then at that point, I look to trade high variance players to those people and convince them that they need a shot on those high variance players to spike a week and win, because your team sucks. You're not going to win otherwise.
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. It's you have to be empathetic. I think I found it's best to go in and just listen first, right? Try and understand what they actually think, because you might think, oh, this, you're real weak at wide receiver. They might not actually think that, right? Yes. They might not be checking Reddit or Twitter or listening to podcasts, so they might not know. And so if you can figure out what motivates them, it's going to be a lot easier sell than you trying to convince them, oh, this player's good, it's going to be great for your team, because no one really is going to. They know that you have your own interests in mind as well.
And you're not going to use car salesmen, and that's not going to work. You need to get them talking. That's key. That's key in any negotiation. The more you talk, the worse you're doing. Ask reasonable questions. What, why, how. Less why, more how. What are you looking for? How do you feel about, Mark Ingram or whatever? Feel them out. Get those leverage points and understand what they're looking for, where they value players, and then you can make reasonable trades from there. What you're really looking for are the discrepancies of maybe they think Devin Singletary's a running back 1 for some reason, and you happen to own him, and you know that he is just not. Those are what you're looking for. It's really an information. You just got to spend some time on it.
Someone had asked this question before I'd asked it, and they said, any tips for negotiating or winning trade? Another thing is, I would advise you not to think too much about in terms of winning the trade or losing the trade, because it's, there's not some fancy players, they tend to think about player values as if they're, they have set value, right? Even these trade value charts, they're guesses, right? It's reasonable guesses based off expert opinions. And so they treat it almost like hands in poker, right? It's pair of 2s is always going to lose to your pair of queens. But, in reality, it's all probability. And so, try exactly what Alex is saying, try and find where your probability is different from their probability of players, and then see where you can make that puzzle work.
Yeah. And the goal isn't to win. The goal is for both teams to win.
Right.
And trade value, I almost always give up more total value in my trades because I'm looking at 2-for-1s or 3-for-2s
Yep.
or 4-for-3s. Like I always want to be able to pick someone up off the bench or off the waiver wire. And I'm usually giving up 1.2 or 1.5 just to make it happen. But yeah, that's what I was reading the next comment.
Yeah, he said, "How can I make fair trades? Because I've had some vetoed by league mates."
Use this trade chart.
Yeah, you can use use third-party opinions. Honestly, your league should get rid of vetoes. Like,
yes,
it's not. It's like it's very counterintuitive when you think about it. Is that like there's almost no we play this game to have agency, right? To like make decisions for ourselves. So you're all of a sudden having your league mates make decisions for you, and that's sort of counterintuitive to the game.
I still remember. Sorry,
No,
real
go ahead.
fast. I did a trade a couple of years ago. It got vetoed in my league, and I was furious. Well, mainly because I love the trade from my perspective. I guess so did everyone else. But we went back and did the math. It was only like 3 weeks before the playoffs started, and I would not have made the playoffs if I did that trade, and he would have, and he did not, and I did, and it's crazy. And they vetoed it, so they really just vetoed him out of the playoffs, which is crazy. So you never know what's going to happen. Like trade could look bad, and in a couple of weeks, it's completely different.
Yeah, I definitely prefer commissioner veto. I have never vetoed a trade. I mean, if your league is veto happy, I mean, you have to change that mindset, or to be honest, change your league, because I don't think that's a good way to play. I don't think people should be managing other people's teams. The only reason to do it is if you suspect collusion, or it really just messes with parity like too much. Like if the 1-in-8 team is trading with the number one ranked team and giving them guard, like it's just hard to verify. Like I don't. At what point would you lock a team's roster? Would you three guys, would you lock it if they're eliminated from the playoffs?
No.
Yes, I actually have played like that before in a lot of leagues. If I was a commissioner, I probably wouldn't do it, and I would still allow it because I want those teams to be still in it. But I have seen teams do that a lot in ESPN leagues.
Yeah, I
only
don't
in
like
redraft would I consider that, but
that's what trade deadline is for.
Yeah, only in a redraft, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I have a trade deadline.
Scriv is coming in and asked us, would you guys pick up any of these guys in a 14-team PPR? He would have to drop Rager, Ingram, Dobbins, Chenault, Higgins, Patrick, Lazard, Michelle.
Is that T. Higgins or Rashard Higgins?
I'm guessing Rashard Higgins. If it was T. Higgins, I would drop Rager yesterday and pick him up.
Get out of here. Get out of here, please. Go pick him up. I like Rager a lot.
Stay here, but pick him up while you're listening.
No, seriously, leave this and go pick up T. Higgins first. That's more important. Now, joking, but I like Rager a lot. But Dobbins, I would pick up Chenault and Ingram probably over him.
Which in what order? So I mean, it obviously depends if you need running back depth or wide receiver. How would you rank those three?
It depends if I needed to win this week, because I don't think Ingram is going to play this week. I think I really don't think he's going to play, but he could. If you need someone to play this week and Ingram doesn't play, I think Dobbins is going to be a solid start. I really do. I know Gus Edwards is going to get carries as well. I like Laviska Shenault a lot. He's proven a lot more regular so far. And Ingram just running backs, over wide receivers.
Yeah, Chenault will probably be my number one. Unless it's T. Higgins, in which case we don't know. But Dobbins and Ingram, if you have a spot, I would throw Dobbins on your bench. I don't know. It is going to depend on your team. I don't know if I'd drop Rager for Dobbins unless you needed a running back.
In a 14-team league, I'm dropping Rager for Dobbins right now and putting him on my bench because there's the chance that Dobbins has that second half surge where he actually takes over the backfield. Running backs are scarce in 10-team leagues. Yes. This is a 14-team league. I'm taking that shot on Dobbins and throwing him on the end of my bench. Like, just look at the other names on there. Chenault, Higgins, Patrick, Lazard. Like, I'm not saying they're as good as Rager, any of them in particular, but I'm comfortable with finding another wide receiver on the waiver wire. If Dobbins hits, you're not going to find a running back like that on the waiver wire rest of season in a 14-team league.
Nope.
That's just where I stand on it. It's not that Dobbins is guaranteed to have more production than Rager rest of season. In fact, I'd probably put the odds on Rager having better production, but it's that shot at having a running back that could be a week in, week out starter that's going to cause me to take Dobbins over him.
Absolutely.
Same.
All right, one
Agree
more.
with you.
Would you trade Thielen for Jonathan Taylor? Pretty deep at wide receiver. AJ Brown, Galladay, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, and most of the RB2s.
I would.
With that depth, yeah.
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 Definitely.
Easy one.
We all agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a couple other ones.
Let's see. We'll throw this in there. This was they were asking anyone on their team they could buy low or they could sell high on. Then they were asking for buy lows. Is there anyone on that team that you would get rid of now?
I am willing to sell high on all the running backs that aren't named Sanders and Robinson. So if you can get like solid value for those running backs, package deal, some of them upgrade at the position at wide receiver or running back, I'm willing to do that. And honestly, kind of the same thing with wide receiver. I'd be willing to trade Corey Davis. So not the same thing at all.
Looking at it, Hawkinson's a big sell high for me personally. That jumps out in because this is the 14-teamer where he was also looking to drop Rager for one of these guys. I would look to do Hawkinson plus a running back for a better running back, and then you can pick up two guys off the waiver wire. Yeah, like
in a 14-team league, your tight end is going to be less valuable because you're gonna the amount of times you're going to play a team with one of those top 3 or 4 guys is going to be less frequent throughout the season. So
no, this is a 10-team.
Oh, he's 10-team. My bad.
Never mind. Disregard.
But I would still Hawkinson plus. I don't know who has the most.
Montgomery.
David Montgomery.
Sure.
Yeah. David Montgomery. I would for sure be looking. If
and you could probably
get
some
Latavius Murray to the Camaro manager.
Yeah,
I would consider that. I would try and get rid of Cooper, but I don't know that it's a good time to do that.
I would also drop Corey Davis for. Right? Would you own? So it's the same person that was asking if he would drop Rager for
different person.
Oh, it was different person.
Just similar name. That was Scriv. Yeah, no, that was Scriv. Let's see.
Oh, my bad.
I think
I'm bad at these. Yeah, you're right. Their names aren't even similar. I don't even know what that was about.
You know,
in your heart, they were the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other name that sticks out to me is honestly in a 10-team league. Whenever he said this, Hawkinson was the first one that jumped out at me. If you can get something for the name value of Mahomes in a 10-team league, you might like. I know he just had a down game. Yeah. Maybe wait another week, see if he lights it up, and then in a 10-team league, there is plenty of quarterback value available on the waiver wire. You're going to have no problem picking someone up to start unless everyone's rostering 3 quarterbacks.
Now he dropped -4 on the trade value chart, so that was one of the things that was surprising to me, Alex, because I feel like he's one of those guys who is sort of he's gonna have that staying power, right? Like his value is gonna be pretty constant. But that was surprising that after that game that he would drop -4.
Yeah, I think it was we aren't really used to seeing him drop those games. I mean, because he just didn't all of last year, right? Or the year before. He just always was 20+ points. So even when the team just decimates Denver like that, like it's kind of surprising to see.
Game for him. He didn't play poorly. It wasn't great for fantasy. And they got benched because they were up by so much.
Yeah. I don't know if it's being benched as much as successfully sat. Yeah.
So with those names that we said, who would you recommend them target to maybe buy low on right now? Are there any names that stuck out to you while you were going through these charts that would be buy low candidates, Alex, for let's see, for the person asking and then just in general as well?
I mean, it's tough to say. It really depends on the teams that have the needs that line up with what you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
If let's pretend you're doing David Montgomery plus Hawkinson, I would look for maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt, that tier of running back, right? Maybe Chris Carson if you have the depth and can handle an injury, or Miles Sanders. I think those are both reasonable type targets. James Robinson if that person is asleep at the wheel. When you're looking at maybe doing like a Amari Cooper plus Hawkinson, which is something I would also be looking for. Maybe you're looking at Stephon Diggs. I think he's a buy low, potentially, or Allen Robinson, or maybe Michael Thomas if you're ballsy. Like those are ones that kind of jump out at me.
Yeah. The one you said that I was going to say was Kareem Hunt. I think people are scared of Nick Chubb coming back, and like we talked about earlier, if you could go target Kareem Hunt with Hawkinson plus David Montgomery, I would make that trade yesterday.
I would not even be slightly afraid of Nick Chubb coming back.
So that's something I'm going to be trying to do with maybe the Nick Chubb scares starting to come up over the next week or two. That would be the player I would probably be targeting. Okay, let's take one more question, and then if you guys are down for it, I've got a quick game of Fantasy Pig lined up. Shouldn't take too long to knock out Josh and JL, Alex.
You
came in and wiped the floor with us last time.
I was going to say, you utterly destroyed me a couple months ago when we played Pole Perception.
It was bad. I remember.
I still cry all about it.
So this person is – oh, sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, Scrib, I see your comment right there. I would still go Dobbins over Chenault, just so you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Dobbins over Ingram for upside.
Yes. For upside, absolutely. I agree. I think JL said you would prefer Chenault, right?
It depends on your team.
Yeah.
I like Chenault. I think Chenault is the safer play, but upside for sure is with Dobbins. So if you have enough wide receiver depth, I would go Dobbins here.
Cool. So this last question, the trade that they're looking at is they would get they would get Julio Jones, Nick Chubb, and Lamar Jackson and trade away Adam Thielen, Myles Gaskin, guessing DJ Moore, and Jerick McKinnon.
I read your team, Scrib. So man, that seems like a good trade to me.
Seems like a slam dunk. Like it almost so much so. I'm like, why am I?
Well, DJ Moore and Adam Thielen. That's like a whole team of players that they're giving up, but the upside, the top tier players you're getting in return are worth it.
If they'll accept that, then I'm taking that. That's a trade that I'm locking into right away. Where did that comment go?
Caveat is if you're 2-5 because you will lose this week because you can't play Nick Chubb or Lamar Jackson, and you have no depth. Sure, you can't do that trade. But I assume you wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't reasonable. I think that one is. It seems like a slam dunk for you, to be honest.
Yep, and that seems like a trade of that. That looks like someone who is using the strategy you were talking about earlier of looking at the teams at the bottom who might need to manufacture a win now. Because if they've got those players, Lamar Jackson has underperformed a little bit. Nick Chubb has been out. Julio Jones has been injured. I bet that team's not doing so hot and could use a win this week.
It needs depth. It just needs players. Depth. It needs warm bodies.
Yeah, if you're gonna upgrade your QB like that, this type of trade is one that I would do. Is most of the time that I'm ever gonna trade for a QB in a 1 QB league. It's gonna be something like this where I'm going to upgrade, but I'm also getting an upgrade at other positions as well.
Yeah, you're training ponies for a bunch of horses. So I think that's
now
really
you're speaking my language.
That's good way
Okay, we've got about 12 minutes left before we got to jump. So if you guys want to dive into this game of Fantasy Pig, is there any closing statements on these trade charts, Alex?
No, I keep the questions coming. I try to answer all of them on Reddit.
Every Wednesday morning, right?
Every Wednesday morning, anywhere from 8 to 9. It really depends if CBS or Fantasy Pros or Chris Harris change the headers. The R script I use, they've been switching them up every freaking week. So then I have to just slightly adjust it every day. And adding Antonio Brown this time messed with my fuzzy match indexing because apparently Antonio Brown and AJ Brown are the same person according to my. So those were things I had to address. But so that's why it was late. But anywhere from 8 to 9, check it out on Wednesdays. If you want early access or continuous access, where I'll run an updated live spreadsheet on my Patreon. It's at PeakedInHighSkool, spelled incorrectly, but you can find it. That's a good place as well. But always on Reddit. I'm always there. Entirely too much.
Seriously, cool. This trade chart's amazing. I love it. I'm using it. It's gonna win me leagues. Everyone should use it.
Yeah, you need that help, Josh, for sure.
I mean, I really do.
Julian, what are you doing? Rooting for Josh today?
Yeah, Julian, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go, Julian. You're my buddy.
Julian, you're gonna have to wait a minute to root for Josh because the order has been randomly determined, and Josh is going second. Alex, you're gonna lead the way in this game, and JL, you're going third. How this is gonna work for anyone who's watching that hasn't seen us play before, it's like the basketball game horse but we're playing Pig today because we got limited time. I'll ask a question to one of the players. They can either choose to answer it or pass it to another player. If they answer it and answer it correctly, they get to hand out a letter. If they answer it incorrectly, they get a letter. If they pass it to someone and that person gets it, the person passing it gets a letter. If the person answering misses it, they get a letter. You spell pig, you lose. You ready?
Just like basketball.
And just so what everyone knows real fast, we're here every day at 3:00, or every weekday at 3:00. Usually I'm here. JL and Simon, they're here like 99% of the time. Come on in.
Yeah. We play lots of fantasy game show games and I think
answer questions.
Yeah, and every Wednesday we'll be going over that week's trade charts.
Hasty is a good play if Wilson's out and Mostert's out and Coleman's out. I think that's reasonable.
That's the way he's a good play.
Yeah.
If everyone else is out,
it's risky.
Completely agree with that.
He's a decent play.
I wouldn't play him unless you have to, and that's at least the strategy I'm going with. I'm not.
I think he's a flex play. I mean, he has a 9-point floor with or 9 points is probably what we're looking at with a floor of like 3 to 4, right? Like he's going to touch it 9 times for 50 yards.
Yeah, he'll either blow up or he'll do nothing. And so I'm going to hold him and wait a week, or whichever.
I don't know
whichever 49ers running back you want to take a shot on, hold him a week and see how it flushes out.
Yeah.
The only problem is if you hold him a week, that whole backfield changes. I feel like every single week, like you hold a week and then all of a sudden Tevin Coleman's back, and then you hold another week and then he's out, but Mostert's back. Then you hold a week and then they're probably going to sign someone off the street. I agree. It's a desperation play. If you have to, you can play them. I'd prefer not to.
Yeah.
So
it's just a shot.
Alex, are you ready to dive in? You get question number 1. And remember, you can choose to answer or pass it. These are mostly fantasy related questions. Some of them are general NFL knowledge. Some of them are
utterly ridiculous.
Okay. So Alex, your question. There are 3 wide receivers in the top 12 PPR wide receivers through 7 weeks that were drafted outside of the top 30 wide receivers. Can you name 2 of the 3?
3 wide receivers.
3 of the wide receivers that were drafted outside of the top 30 that are in top 12?
Yes.
And
so
PPR.
According to Fantasy Pros ADP, there are 3 wide receivers that were drafted outside of the top 30 that are currently in the top 12 PPR wide receivers. You can choose to pass or play this.
I will play.
Okay.
He's confident.
I'm going to go Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, that's who I had written down.
And Justin Jefferson.
Ooh. Okay, so Robbie Anderson is the wide receiver 7 right now and was drafted as the wide receiver 54. So you are correct on that one. Tyler Boyd is the wide receiver 9 right now. Wow. And was drafted as the wide receiver 32. Justin Jefferson is the wide receiver 17 right now. He's only played 6 games.
I thought we were doing like points per game. My bad. Reasonable scoring, but okay.
Yeah. No, nothing's reasonable about this. Don't assume anything's reasonable. The other one that we're missing is Will Fuller is number 12 right now.
I thought he would have been in top 30.
I thought Justin Jefferson was a good pick, honestly.
Yeah, that was a really good pick.
Will Fuller was the wide receiver 34 during the draft season.
Gotcha.
So right there on the end, a little bit of Josh math. Cut it a little bit close.
No, I like the question. I like the question.
So
I was surprised Tyler Boyd actually was drafted that late.
Yeah.
Sorry. Alex, you are now a P, and Josh and JL, you are nothing. So Josh, this question's coming to you. Name the 8 current division leaders.
Oh my God.
I want to see like the teams. I'm gonna like forget about divisions. Okay, I'll take it. Let's just try to do it fast. So oh wait, are the Steelers are winning that division, right? So Steelers.
It's your division, man.
Yeah,
they're undefeated. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I know the Ravens have a loss.
I hear whispers about Ravens rumors.
Okay, so what was your first answer?
Steelers. Correct.
Steelers are winning the AFC North.
Sorry, I'm going to be jumping around a lot. The Redskins are winning, right?
That's not a team anymore.
Shoot.
So
Yeah.
instantly
I
lost.
hate doing that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
If
literally
you-
give me a P.
If you correct it to the proper team
Washington
name,
football team. I apologize.
it's the
everyone.
Eagles. You're already wrong anyways. Yeah,
Okay, never
the
mind.
Eagles are currently winning that division with.
Wait, can you do
with
the rest?
tie.
Can you do the
No,
rest?
I'm not.
So Josh,
I
shout
wish I
out
had
to
the
you.
teams in front of me. I was like jumping. I was just like, okay, I got this conference and this. Okay,
Man,
well,
I expected more out of you, Josh. There, I really thought you were going to get them.
Okay.
AFC East was the Bills. AFC West is the Chiefs. AFC North is the Steelers. AFC South is the Titans. NFC East is the Eagles. NFC West is the Seahawks. NFC North is the Packers, and the NFC South is the Buccaneers.
I would have gone. I would have
The
said
teams
Saints.
are in
I wouldn't
there.
have thought of it. Yeah.
So, Josh, welcome to the club. You and Alex are both P's
feels
now.
good. It feels good.
We may not have time to finish the full game, but we'll see. Maybe JL pulls ahead right here. So, JL,
Yep.
Alvin Kamara is the number 1 overall PPR running back through 7 weeks. Who is the number 2 PPR running back?
Who's the number 2 running back?
Overall score.
Oh my God! Till recently, it was Aaron Jones, and then I think after this week, when I was doing my my top 25, I think is it James Robinson?
It is James Robinson with 133.6 points.
I'm telling you,
Zeke is
man,
in
those
third with
things are-
129.8.
It's a shame. All right, give me the eye. Let's go.
JL, where are you throwing the letter?
You know what? Alex humiliated me the last time. He was on the show.
Ooh.
That's
He-
fair.
You're gonna
He
do him
said
dirty?
we have started a blood feud here today, and so you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity to deliver him the P.
I
It'll
am.
make-
The eye. He is now a pie.
It'll make the
Still
victory
getting
all
it.
that much better.
So, Alex, we are back to you.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Julian. I'm gonna step it up. I promise. For you.
Remember, you can play or pass. How many wide receivers were drafted in the first round of the 2020 NFL draft?
How many wide receivers drafted in the first round? Oh, jeez.
Throwing
gonna-
some non-fantasy knowledge in here.
I actually
I'm gonna throw this one to JL.
You son of a gun.
think. Hold on.
Dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it in my head, but I can't.
I think I got it.
T. Higgins is second round. Ruggs. Jefferson. I think Edwards is second round.
Josh, Julian's shaming you for your divisions.
I'm pretty sure I would have gotten this one at least.
He came in cheering for you, and you disappointed him right away.
I'm sorry, Julian. Next time or this time, I'm still gonna win.
I'm going to say 3.
I think it's more, right?
I think it could be more, but I'm scared.
So JL said 3. So I'm going to go in order.
5.
Henry Ruggs was drafted at
Yeah.
number
Not
12
bad.
overall. Jerry Jeudy was drafted at number 15
Oh!
overall.
I forgot about
And-
Judy.
CeeDee Lamb was drafted at 17 overall.
And then
That's
and
3. But there's 3 more. Jalen Rager
Ayuk?
at 21, Justin Jefferson at
How did I
22,
forget Rager?
Jalen Rager
and
was
Ayuk
second
at
round.
25.
No,
he
he
wasn't.
He wasn't.
He was drafted
Swore
21
he was second
overall
round.
to the Eagles.
This
He
is
was drafted
baloney.
21 overall. So JL, I'm sorry. A strategic pass, payback for what you did to him. You are now a P.
This shirt is stupid. Alex.
IPP. Pi
Dumb,
PP.
stupid face.
So Alex passed that to John Luke. That means it is now Josh's turn. I just messed up my order.
It's Josh's turn.
It's Josh's turn.
My turn. Let's bring it.
Okay, Joshua. It's my favorite kind of question.
Uh oh.
You actually usually do pretty good at these. Put these wide receivers in order of PPR finish through 7 weeks. So basically, rank these wide receivers:
Okay.
DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore.
Actually, you did not make it easy. I'm gonna just put it in that order you presented: DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore.
Okay. DK Metcalf is currently the number 15 wide receiver on the season with
I was gonna say, I think
103.9
Cooper's still
points.
above him.
Cooper's a high then.
I think Cooper's
Yeah.
still
DJ
above
Moore
him.
is 13 with 105.7, and Amari Cooper is 5th with 125.6.
And I give up on this game.
The order was Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. That was almost
Wow.
perfectly
So-
wrong, Josh.
That
Yeah, we got
that
everything
was perfectly wrong. Actually, yeah,
And that'd be hard to
didn't get-
do on purpose.
yeah. No, it was pretty hard. Julian, Don't
Honestly,
root
we
for me
should
anymore.
do 2 letters for that.
God. Oh.
Okay.
See, look, I'm trying to rush everything. You know, we're at the very end here.
All right, wrap it around.
Yeah, we'll wrap it around this. Whose turn is it? It is JL's turn again. JL. Who is averaging more fantasy points per game? Just Herbert or Patrick Mahomes?
Who's averaging more? Oh, God, Herbert is gonna just destroy me on this. I'm gonna pass this to Alex. You sucker.
Oh, Alex.
It's got to be Herbert, otherwise you wouldn't have asked, right? Like, or is he asking that because
Did
it's
you
a trap?
think that it has to be
It
Herbert?
can't,
Otherwise, that wouldn't
it
have
happens both ways all the time.
Is it 6-point or 4-point per touch?
Julian, I'm so sorry.
4 points.
4-point. No, it's Herbert.
Okay, so Herbert has been averaging 25.76 points per game across 5 games.
That's a lot.
Patrick Mahomes is averaging 24.49. You are correct.
No.
JL,
No.
you get another letter. Everyone's a PI. We're gonna wrap this game up.
Wow.
So
So,
this is it.
Do it.
It is Alex's turn, right?
Let's do it.
Alex, which tight end leads the league in points per game?
Oh.
What's scoring format?
PPR. I apologize. So in full PPR. Though, you know what? I'll give you this. It doesn't matter what scoring format. I looked at all 3. It's across all 3 scoring formats.
It's either Kelsey or Jonnu, and I think it's got to be Kelsey. I'm saying it, Kelsey.
Could be Kittle.
No, Kittle.
He's had
Well, I
some
got hurt.
pretty
Points
ass
Per
per
game,
games.
though.
Yeah, you're right.
Points
He had
per
one
game.
big game. Oh,
It's too late. You locked in.
I said Kelsey.
Okay,
In my
so
mind, it
Kelsey's
was
averaging
Kelsey or Kittle.
16.9 points per game, which is pretty damn good for a tight end.
Oh no.
George Kittle is averaging 18.4 points per game in his games. You are incorrect, and you are a pig now. Let's see if this last question, we've got one more question. Alex, you have been eliminated. You've brought shame to the Trade Charts family.
I did.
Just kidding. Now you're just 1-1 on our show. This last question goes to Josh for the win. Okay, Josh. No
Oh,
passes.
wow. This is intense. No
In 20
passing?
No
I
passing.
just said that for fun.
Okay.
You can pass.
Oh,
if you
Okay.
want.
I will pass it. I don't need to.
In 2017, Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey became the second and third rookie running backs with 100 targets and 100 carries in a season. Who was the first rookie running back to accomplish this in 2006?
100 targets and 100
Don't
carries
you
in this
dare
season.
do it, you coward. Don't you dare do it.
2006? I mean, I have an idea, but I feel like he didn't have that good of a rookie season.
Do
But
it
he
for
might
the
have.
glory. Do it for the glory.
All right. I'll No, I don't want to take this. I'm not sure. Like,
You got
to
I'm not
pass
sure if he came out in 2000. I would like to pass it if I'm able.
You stupid.
Okay,
son. You
that is
passed it
a
to
I have a
Alex.
guess. I have a guess, and if it's this guy, I'm gonna. I should just go.
That was
for
my
it.
guess too. Down in the
Should I
chat.
just go for it? Whatever, guys. I'm going for it.
Oh! Ah!
No, I shouldn't. He didn't. There's no way he did it. Okay, Reggie Bush.
In 2006, the first rookie to have 100 carries and 100 targets in a season was Reggie Bush. Josh, you are the winner.
Let's go. I'm
No!
so happy. I was like, is he 2006 or 2008? 2008 was sticking in my mind so much. I was like, oh, let's go. Hey, Julian, let's go, Julian. Let's go.
Who was your
Julian,
guess, JL?
I was going to say LT.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
my
gonna be my
God.
guess. But
Good
I,
guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really
I had a
proud of
Reggie
you,
Bush
Josh.
Saints jersey.
Wow. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. Julian celebrating with you. You know, we went over a little bit, so I'm going to make the sign off short and sweet. Congratulations, Josh. Better luck next time, Alex. But thank you so much for coming on.
Seriously.
That was unbelievably valuable to us and the
Yeah, it
people
was.
watching, getting to go through these trade charts with the expert himself and talk through a lot of this trade landscape right now. I know it's kind of wild with all these injuries.
Next
can
week, at
find-
the same time.
Alex on Reddit at his username is PeakedInHighSkool, and your Patreon is. I'll put the link to your Reddit post on Twitter. That way people can check it out, and then the link to his Patreon is in there as well. If you want to support him and support the work that he's doing. You can find us on YouTube at Front Yard Fantasy and Twitter also at Front Yard Fantasy. Subscribe, follow us there. You can find Josh on Twitter at FYF Josh, John Luke at FYF John Luke, and me at FYF Simon. Any closing words, Alex, before we jump off?
No, it was great. I hate to lose, so I'm gonna have to come back, I guess. Sometime.
Next Wednesday we'll do another round of big.
Trading makes fantasy fun, so trading is always a good way to keep it going.
It's actually relevant today. Good job,
actually
Josh.
relevant today. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Bye.